The Unofficial Lounge with Ashante, Trayvon, and Monty. We're here to give you the insight into some of the biggest plays you remember, involving the people wearing the stripes. We look at the grit it takes to become an official while exploring the history of officiating with the people who made it. It's more than black and white.
Cord here. Bam. There we go.
It'll be hot.
All right. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Unofficial Lounge. I mean, the Unofficial Lounge people, we are out here trying to hear the people and get people to understand officiating from all different angles. We continue to try to expand the show. We have a guy from the other side of the line we'll talk to him about, He don't put on the stripes, but he has a close relationship because of what he does for a living, with what we do. So it's great to have Mr. Eliot Davis on the show with us tonight. He's going to talk about his basketball program that he runs. But Monty and Shanti, you know what I'm the happiest about?
You had an easy name.
It was an easy name to pronounce, baby.
Oh no, that one L. I ain't think he's gonna get it right with that one L.
Listen, I always say the one L, one T. That's the culture right there coming out of my she just had to do it how she did it. So
that's it. Hey, with a name like Trayvon and we got Ashante on the show, we understand. We understand. All right, Eliot. So Monty invited you on the show. He's reached out to you. Mm-hmm. We kind of talked real briefly here. You are a busy man when it comes to AAU basketball. But before we get to what you're doing now, what has kind of guided you to where you are today?
Oh man, just like I said, just life's journey. I mean, honestly, man, just there's been a lot of little ups and downs and bumps on the road. I would say like being a coach was definitely something I didn't see happening early on. But like I said, I was a hooper growing up, played at Lompoc High School, played at Hancock, and then after that, just kind of went to the military, got married early,
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I was in the U.S. Navy Seabees, man. That's what I was in. So,
he didn't do it for the country, man. He did it for the lead Lompoc.
It's crazy, and it's crazy that you say that because it really was kind of like that way. I was not doing bad, but around people who were doing bad. Okay. And so it kind of just got me to that point of like, man, either you gonna make a move or you gonna be somewhere you don't need to be, doing some stuff you don't need to be doing with people that's definitely gonna get you in trouble. And it was a close encounter where I had left the house and literally that following morning, I was supposed to stay the night. I left the house. The house got raided by the police. Everybody in the house.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah. So
you would have been one of some of them other residents in Lompoc.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, it was, just something like that, man, could have changed everything. But it was kind of like an eye-opening moment. And then my sister just happened to be graduating high school that year. So it's kind of like a reflective moment of like, man, what the hell are you doing?
Gotcha.
And so it just, I ended up going to military. And of course, like most people, money to go to college and all that stuff I wasn't thinking my trajectory in the military was going to be what it was. And then, I ended up being a combat veteran as well. So that also, altered things in my life.
So you basically had graduated and was just, just trying to figure it out. And just being around people who you thinking is good, even though they ain't on the up and up.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, man, I was a spoiled kid, not because I had things. I just have a mom and my dad under the same roof growing up. Uh-huh. So like I was struggling financially like everybody else, but we were stable. My mom and dad was on me every day. So I knew right from wrong, but my friends were who my friends were. Yeah. And so, I just made, I wasn't making the bad choices, but I was definitely there with them.
Around the wrong crowd.
Yeah. So it just kind of reflected my decisions. So like I said, after I got done playing ball for a year at Hancock, I just was kind of hanging around town, not doing much, just not being the best version of myself. So I just need to make a change.
Oh man, I've heard this story before.
Now, Eliot, how long did you serve in the military?
I served 5 years active duty. So I went in 1999 and I got out in 2004.
Wow.
Okay.
So you was in you went overseas.
Yeah, I was in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Okay.
And so, yeah, when in 2003, when the president said, if you got 24 hours to turn yourself in or we're coming in, I was out there at that time.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. All right. Now that would change your life forever, experiencing something like that.
Absolutely. It was kind of one of those things. It was the changes were happening, but you don't really understand what's going on yet. You're just not mature enough to really process everything and not really understanding everything I went to. And so, that kind of got me. That was a big part of where I'm at now, is just because I grew up a lot in the military. But, just things that happened after that, I started learning about dealing with PTSD and other mental health things. And so, those experiences kind of triggered some things in me that made me change some things in my life.
So when you were saying you played basketball, right? So what skills are, what I'm saying, because they say playing sports, what I'm saying, build you up. What skills did you skill set to help you in the military and vice versa? What did you take out of the military that help you with some of your training?
Oh man, I would say the thing that the military give you more than anything, and everybody knows it, is just discipline.
The check?
That ain't that.
Right.
Especially when you're new to it, that check ain't. I mean, they really, to be honest, what they sell you on is 3 meals a day, a stable place to sleep. Like, they sell you on that stuff because the money's not really. Right. Until you start making a certain rank, until you get to about the E5, E6 range, you'll start making money. But up until that point, you're not making much. But it's like, if you ain't had nothing, it might feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
especially if you don't have no bills, right?
You ain't got no bills.
If
you ain't got
no bills.
Nothing. Right. So, but they say anybody military tell you that money will burn a hole in your pocket if you don't know what you're doing, man. The first thing that come quick.
A lot of Hellcats.
Man,
everybody got a charge.
Hold up. Right. Back in your day, it was the 300.
Yes. Actually, that was like kind of like at the end of it, but that was the car that was moving though. And then, like, I was in in my battalion specifically, like, it was a big Ram 1500 and the Chevy Avalanche was like the big thing at the time.
Okay.
So, like, those two cars, if you had a Chevy Avalanche with some rims, you was doing it.
Wow.
So, Eliot, now you go into the military, you serve our country in combat, you come out. Sounds like, like a lot of people that came back from certain time, you're dealing with PTSD, and trying to get involved with that. How long did it take you to get into the coaching ring?
Let's see. So I got on in 2004. I started coaching in 2009. And so it was kind of I was in transition. So like I said, I'm speaking on the PTSD now. But I didn't understand what it was at that time. So I'm going through things, not really being able to understand it. And so I had a failed marriage. Was that the thing that killed it? No, but it definitely played a role in some stuff that happened in our relationship that just wasn't good for either one of us. My attitude was jacked up. I had anger issues. I was just dealing with a lot of stuff and not even knowing. As men, we're not taught to talk. So I didn't know how to even begin the process.
Better suck that up, cuz. Suck that up.
Right. Right. I mean, for real.
Sadly, and sadly, when you say that, and I'm gonna say it too, as men, especially as Black men, but then having a community of people that will respond to it and not just tell you to say, "Hey, bro, suck it up." You come on now.
What's wrong with your boy?
Just move on. Right.
What's wrong with your boy?
Let's go get this old English 800. Let's go get
let's go get a bottle, man.
40, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna do anything to not deal with the issue. Right. I mean, it's like everything is okay outside of like actually talking about and dealing with what's going on. And that was kind of that space. And like I said, I was raised by somebody who never said I couldn't talk, but he just didn't do it. So we didn't see it. I had 2 older brothers who we just didn't talk about those things. It just wasn't something we saw that was okay to do. And like you said, when you step outside your house in the community, you're going to get bashed for that. You're going to get killed for that.
Right.
Man, you saw me. You acting like a little girl. It's going to be a lot of little things that.
Ashante, that's how you be talking to people, Ashante.
You right. You right. What you talking about? Like, you can't be 50 years old crying like, "Hey, bro, you got to suck that up."
Who ordered this burger? Who ordered this burger?
Hey man, hold up now. We put personal business out.
He got some PTSD about some cheeseburgers.
Hey man, I got childhood trauma. You know what I'm saying? We all dealing with our own issues.
For sure. But like I said,
but we say that it's it's how do you deal with the issues, yourself, and first being able to identify that it's something been going on, and then find a comfortable space to start talking about it and dealing with it, so you don't have to deal with the Ashantis of the world of telling you,
definitely want to deal with nobody who having cheeseburger problems. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
It's not the space I want to be in. It's not the space I want to be in with another man at all.
I don't eat meat, man. I'm just saying. So now, see, I'm about to bring up something. I know in the military, since you played basketball, that had to be big. So I know you was killing them when you was at PT.
I was doing my thing, but like I had a lot of other guys around me that was really nice as well. So it wasn't like I played on really good teams. I did well. I held my own. Will I sit here and say I was the best? Yeah, at that time I would have said I was the best. Yeah, 20s, but it was some guys out there who were some heavy hitters, man. Like you're playing with guys who went to college, and you got officers who played D1 basketball. So you're not playing against just anybody.
Okay, I know how competitive that those sports are in America at that level. So
now and you in shape, you in great shape when you're in the military. So it's like you can run all day.
Now, when you came back home, did you go back to the Central Coast, as Monty would call it? Me and Ashante call the middle of nowhere, Lompoc?
Well, I went to somewhere else in the middle of somewhere else that was nowhere, and I was in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Oh, goodness!
Hold up! Whoa,
man, that's cold.
That ain't cold. I ain't think we went there.
It was so to be honest, and like I said, so this all factors
following them ladies.
Exactly. I was married at the time, and it was kind of like it probably was the best situation. I really didn't want to go, but it was like she really wanted to, and I didn't fight it that much. I was just like, all right, if this is going to help my marriage, I'll do it. So that's how I end up.
Now, I don't want to get too much into, but was that home for her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, gotcha.
That's the only way we'd end up there.
Right. I'm like, I'm gonna ask this gently, but it's like, okay, we just ain't randomly picking, North
I wasn't gonna ask. I knew.
Oh no, you are. Yeah, that's definitely not. Like I said, I wanted to go.
Could have went for oil fracking. We don't know.
Nah, it was Arizona's where I wanted to go, but it was kind of like I want to go home. I want to be around my family, and we were both. She was active duty as well, so
okay.
So she wanted to go home, and like I said, I was about my family, so I didn't want to like mess that up, so I just took it. So, and I was going to school out there too. So,
understood.
So how was that? Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about that experience from SoCal, and now you in.
The crazy part about it is it's a lot like Lompoc. It's just you got snow. It's like a small town vibe. Everybody kind of know everybody. Like but like out there, when you go to the Y and play basketball, you got people who leave their keys in their car. Like that's how comfortable they are out there.
That ain't Lompoc.
No, not at all. not a chance. I wouldn't even send my keys. I wouldn't send my keys next to me in Lompoc.
Yeah, that ain't nowhere in Southern California.
Right. So, like I said, it was different. But I would say, as far as like I met a lot of younger Black men or people around my age. So like the community of Black men was really, really strong because it was it was only so many of us at the time.
We all we got.
Right. And so we kind of bonded together. I got friends I'm talking to today that's from there. They kind of moved out this way now, but I got a lot of great connections and friends from out there. So it was cool though. I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't my preference.
What about the wintertime?
It's terrible.
See?
Because it's like you'll I always say I didn't grow up seeing, my family's originally from Alabama. So we don't know snow. And then I lived down in California. My dad came out here because of Air Force. So it's like I don't know snow. So Christmas Day it was beautiful. But like the day after Christmas, I was like, all right,
shovel.
Right, cool. Let it go.
I'm cool now. I have my fix. So we can keep it pushing. So it was definitely tough.
Eliot, that's one thing you got in common with old Shante. He from Alabama too.
Oh yeah, my family from Anniston.
I'm from Gaston. We close.
Okay, yeah. And then trying to think of my uncle lived in Birmingham.
Yeah, that's down the street.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Nice.
But so you take. So I'm understanding. So now you leave. You're in the military. You leave that, and now So are you getting yourself right?
No, not at all. Like I'm just like I said. So I got out. I'm back in school. Okay. But like I said, I'm at this point, and this is leading up to Carvan's question about like how did I get to coaching. Was my marriage just started falling apart, And so, well, it was, what happened was we tried to make a move back to Cali. It just kind of worked out, and then I kind of put us at odds, and then like it just kind of fell apart from there. And so I tried to go back out there to work it out with her. She just wasn't in that space anymore. I wasn't either. We just let it go, but I tried to stay out there, and just nothing worked out. So I ended up moving back to Cali, which was hard because I had 2 kids with her. So it's like, so I'm back and forth dealing with that. And like I said, so I moved back to Cali. I'm living with my brother as I'm getting back on my feet and just doing what I got to do. And so when I moved back to Lompoc, I was a barber at this time and I was going to school. My old assistant coach is the one who actually called me up, Joe Smith, and was like, man, we would love to have you around. So like 2009, I jumped on the sideline, and it was a rewarding feeling. I just never felt nothing like that, helping kids. And it also it felt a void because I was missing my own kids at the time.
Sure.
So it was like
when you jumped on a sideline, at what age group are we talking? High school? Or what age group?
I was lucky, man. I jumped right to varsity. I didn't have to go through the lower levels, man. He brought me on to be a varsity assistant. He didn't have any young energy with him, so he's like, I need a young guy who understands these kids. So he brought me into varsity right away.
How many was you beating in 1-on-1? I know you had someone had to try you. You had to take them out, right?
Oh yeah, no, we was killing them. Like, those group of kids, and I'll let them remain nameless because I love them all. But like I told them, like, I can't come in here every day and look at y'all and y'all have beat me. Like I'm not okay with that. Like, you're not gonna hold that over my head because they'll still be talking about it today if they beat me.
Right.
But like none of them got that. Now it's the kids now might, but not back then though. In my 30s, I'll
what about building self-esteem and trust? You know what I'm saying?
We build it because after I kill you, I'm gonna tell you what you need to do so you don't get killed like that no more. Now you still gonna lose, but I'm gonna tell you how to get better so that it's not as bad.
Exactly.
So how did, from that starting philosophy of killing the kids, like what have you evolved into now?
And I just don't do it. Like, I just don't be out there. It's just more about, it really is about just the educating of the game. I think it's really, I pride myself now in really making genuine connections with these young people. I think I always say it's bigger than basketball at this point. I feel like if I can help you become a better man, basketball is easy. So I just try to connect with them on a real personal level at this point and build good relationships. And then coaching them is easy from that point because you actually know who you're dealing with. So like, it's a teaching thing now. So
when you started, what was your goal starting out? You were just something, like you said, trying to reconnect.
Yeah, honestly, I just wanted to see what it was like. I'm like, well, let's just see. I had the time to do it.
You started out at Lompoc, or
I started at Lompoc High School. Yeah, so I just started out to do it, and like I said, it wasn't even until the end of that first season because I moved back in like around Thanksgiving time. So I came in there right around Christmas. So they had already started playing.
Right.
But like I said, it wasn't until the season was over. I was in the summer chilling, and a kid actually ran into me, and he was like, "Man, there's something you had told me. I'm glad you told me that because it like changed my life. It helped me out in a big way." And like that's when it like clicked. Like, man, you have a lot of good to do.
You got some power,
this thing, man. Like, oh, that meant something to me. So I'm like, man, and I'm a giver by nature. I love to help, so that just kind of fueled me even more.
So you just pointed to the Raptors and told them that's what they retired your jersey. If they keep playing,
I ain't got no jersey up. I got some more titles up there. That's about it. I ain't got no jerseys.
Now, you said the young man said something to you that just made something click. Was that the click on the court as coaching and off the court? I mean, because at this time you still transitioning back to California.
Yeah, it was
dealing with that. Did it give you more away from basketball as well?
Yes, absolutely. It just, like I said, put coaching, and I've told kids this for years. Like in that moment, it saved my life. Because I was just in a bad space. There was just so much going on, getting divorced. I'm back on my own. I don't get to see my kids every day like I want. And I just had a lot going on, and I needed something. I felt like that was for me,
Gotcha.
And I didn't have a purpose. So I was just struggling because I was just lost. I didn't have nothing to feel like I was a part of. I just kind of, like most men, we just get into that moment where we're just existing. We're not really knowing what's going on. We're just kind of moving through every day like a robot, making things happen. So it just gave me my purpose back.
Wow. So you're coaching, you get that moment. What is your off the field, I shouldn't say off the field, off the court career? What is that developing into, or did that just turn you into, I'm just going, hard to the wall coaching, and I'm gonna make this happen for me and the community?
Yeah, so I was like I said, I have my barber's license, so I'm cutting full time in a barbershop. So I'm connected in my community in that way. I happen to know a lot of people because I'm from the town. So, I was able to pick up business very quickly. But, you start interacting. It's a great place to network.
Right.
So, you start meeting people in the community and finding other ways to help. And so, my buddy's mom, Yasmin Salim, she kind of got me involved with stuff and groups and, just kind of doing some small mentorship with her. And then it just kind of evolved from there.
So during the time, like when you first starting out, because it's always funny, are you trying to identify it first with the kid that can resonate with you or somebody that, similar to you when you first started?
Yeah, I think it's like that was the easiest path. You kind of you're having small talk, but you kind of get that feel of like, man, you kind of remind me of me a little bit.
Okay.
And so for me, it was a kid named Akeem Cole.
Okay.
So, like he was kind of like he was just my style. He's my pace. He was kind of laid back. He was about his business. But he just needed somebody to kind of light him up a little bit to kind of push him. And so like me and him got real close right away, and he just happened to be one of the best players on the team. And so from there, just like open the door to everything.
Okay.
Now, before we get to going too much down this coaching road, when's the first time you got your technical from one of us?
You know what? It's crazy. I never got one. I had an assistant coach get one that made me sit down, but like he just beat me to the punch because what he said I was about to say it anyway. So, but yeah, it was and it's a friend of mine. It's a guy named Howard Hall who gave it to us. But he basically just told me it was a bad call. It was terrible. And I was like, I agreed. He gave the bench a tech, was like, you got to sit down, coach, kind of flexing on me a little bit. But otherwise, I don't really invest in you all in the sense of you dictate how we play or the outcome. Like officials don't move me that much. And typically they're not biased. They might be bad, but if they're consistently bad, so I can live with it. Right. Like I just need to know what's going on.
Hold up, man.
But that's the truth, Ashanti. That's the truth. It's not that officials. 99.9% of officials
everything that I've heard to this point, Ashanti has said you're a pretty straight shooter. So I know you don't have a problem with me shooting this straight back.
Too. But I gotta defend the bad ones,
But you don't. But that's the problem. You defending them instead of training them. And see now that might not be the case in your sport in football. But like we have a lot of untrained officials. We have a lot of officials who don't spend time invested in film and all those things. They're not prepping about the teams they're about to see. So they're just kind of like walking into court, not really ready to go. And so like I get it.
That's not just your sport. No. What I'm saying is starting out at that entry level, they just want a body. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not
my check cash.
And it's like somebody hadn't probably when they was younger invested in them like, hey man, if you pick this up, read the book.
Right, please.
They might have just been told, hey man, you come out here, you make some money instead of, hey, if you invest in this, they've been told about making a short money instead of a long money.
Right.
So I'm not disagreeing with what you said. I got you. No, I just don't, because it's going out to officials, even though I do bad mouth officials.
I received that, Ashanti. I received what you said.
I know. I hear what you're saying. I just want to state that.
No, I agree with you, but I said I think the only issue I ever really had with officials was I only got frustrated when I know I'm putting in a lot of work to prep.
And that's when I want to tell you, that's when I realized early in high school, it was like, hey, if these coaches and these kids are putting this much work in, why am I wasting, I shouldn't come out and just give that time that I'm paid for. I need to invest more. So that way they know, okay, he's just not out here. The look you talking about, like you said, you see through officials, you like, all right, man, how you doing? It's a quick handshake. You know what I'm saying? But when you know somebody ready, as a coach, and I know, okay, you're going to give me your best, I'm going to give you my best. You might look at me like, hey, you missed that one, right? We can agree to disagree. I'm like,
for sure.
You're right. Oh, yeah, I blew that.
Yeah, but it should be able to be dialogue.
Yes.
Right.
That's the part.
Right. It's supposed to be dialogue. And like I said, but in any point, I'm not going to cross a line to disrespect.
Right.
So it could get a little tense, but I'm not going to cross a line. But so I'm going to tell you like, nah, man, come on, Shanti. Like, you got to see that. Like, you got to see that. I'm going to get on you. But
I will say this, Eliot. I agree with you 100%. The comment that you made that started, 99.9% of officiating across every sport has no bias whatsoever. It's just that they're not all good officials.
Right.
But at the lower levels, let's not even say lower level, the non-professional levels or the non-NC2A levels, the amount of preparedness you as a coach, because you are grinding with your kids all week long, where that individual that most of the time going into the gym with you at the non-collegiate or non-professional level, working another whole nother career, maybe multiple jobs. And that's just another source of income that over the last, I would say decade for me, in my experience, is by us not being able to keep the younger officials involved because they get so worn out coming in that they don't get to build that experience to where eventually you just have people that just go on through the motions. So you want somebody that's coming out there prepped, but then how much prep is somebody going to do for a game that they getting, at a, youth game, $55 to a high school game, they getting $120. How much prep are they going to really put into it?
No, I agree. And also, I mean, you got to prep for these parents who are crazy as hell.
No, we ain't gonna talk about that.
So like that's, I mean, I speak about that all the time. Like parents are ruining sports in my mind.
Right.
Because it's like they're ruining the experience for the officials, the kids, the coaches, everybody. It's they're invested in everything but their child getting better.
Johnny going to the league, baby. Johnny going to the league.
Right. But it's like you're fussing at everybody but your little kid who needs to get right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so like I don't care for that. Like I said, my dad was a coach, he was an official, so I just didn't have space to complain about anything outside of what I needed to do.
But Elliot, so hold on. I got so you know what's different though about it, Elliot, though? If me and you on the sideline, it's just about the officials. Because I don't know how tall are you?
6 foot.
Oh, here we
no, what I'm saying is because it's not about height, it's about intimidating. You might not, you just might be just chilling and just look at somebody, and that official may not know how to communicate. That's the hardest part about it is getting your officiating voice. Like you had to develop your coaching voice, right?
For sure.
So, and that's something, you know what I'm saying? Like you can tell somebody nervous, but that's the hardest thing that I try to tell people is once you get your officiating voice, and understand how to deal with the coach, because the coach is not screaming at you because you're bad. He's screaming at you because he wants help. He wants you to get better too.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Elliot, and I appreciate that you talked about that. And it's, as we've grown in our show over the last 6 years doing this, trying to get just people to understand officiating a little bit more. So that's why I want to touch on that with you, because I think it's important for all of what we see. And I'm a huge Laker fan. Luka cries like a baby. It's insane. And, we think, it's like, where did that begin? That didn't just begin when you got to the NBA. It started out, years ago.
Right.
But back on you. So you go back to your high school, you're coaching, you're starting to push that. When was it to where now it's like, okay, I need to take this outside of Lompoc? I mean, because we'll talk about the travel schedule. We'll talk about off campus.
Like I was after the first full year, Joe Smith, who was the guy in charge. I remember telling him, I'm like, yo, man, I want to do this for real. So at that time, I wasn't really working on my bachelor's degree. I didn't have my bachelor's yet, but I was like looking up what's the requirements to be a college coach. I'm like, oh, bachelor's degree was right at the top. So it put me back in school. So I'm like, I told him, hey man, when I finish my degree, and I had plenty of credits, I just needed to get a year done. And so I'm like, man, once I get done, I want to look for a head coaching job unless you're not going to be here, then. And then it just kind of worked out to where 2014, he ended up stepping down and recommending me. And then I got hired for the head coaching job. And then I spent 3 years at the Lompoc head coach, 2 really good years. 1 year, a lot of things just didn't work out. I had a very bad year. They let me go. And then I ended up at St. Joseph pretty much a year later. And then from there, it just all really took off because I was around great talent. I got to be around guys who, like Monty could tell you. I mean, most of you guys understand too. We grew up in an era where kids played 2-3 sports.
Right.
So at Lompoc at the time when I was coaching, we were so good at football, everybody kind of gravitated to that more.
You hear that, y'all?
So, and so we took us a minute to kind of get it back going. But, when I went to St. Joseph, I was all for it, but just a lot of the kids nah, coach, I hoop. And so it's kind of nice to just really deal with kids who really love what they're doing and want to be a part of something special. And so it just made it fun. So I've been over there for the last 8 years.
So we'll get into St. Joe, but at that time, had you already started your what do you call it, the public speaking and mentorship?
No, so the public speaking only came into play for about almost 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
And so what that was like I said, as you know, about 8 years ago, actually, on July 1st, my brother had passed away, and he unfortunately he took his own life. And so what that did was it really that's when it made me maybe take a hard look at my own mental health.
There we go.
Because I'm like, man, listen, I'm like, I went into a deep depression for a little while, and it got to a point where it was just a day where my wife asking me to do something, my son need me, my mom need me, like everybody need me, and I couldn't do it. And so, I'm just like, man, I need to do something. And I found myself, I went to San Luis Obispo. They had a VA clinic for vets, and I met with a counselor, and I just started the process of like, let me try to work some of this stuff out, man, because I don't want to feel the way my brother felt. Right. And so, like, going through that journey, I was teaching at St. Joseph as well. And a student actually was like, Mr. Davis, have you ever thought about public speaking? I said, yeah, but I was just afraid, to be honest.
Sure.
And so
what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but like I said, life pushed you on those points where you're going to get pushed in a direction. You got to make a choice. And I just wasn't really loving what I was doing. And I'm since I was a barber, I just fell in love with being my own boss. And so I'm okay with 9 to 5 in it, but I really got to have somebody who values what I do. And that's just hard to find in the current climate of work. And so about 3 years ago, I'm like, man, I think I had got to a point where I'm like, if it took me in my 30s to figure this out, man, how much better would I have been if I known this when I was a kid?
Sure.
How much better would I have done if I had known about mental health and understood it and been able to talk about it? And so that's what kind of pushed me in the direction of like, man, let me go tell this story. Number one, it honors my brother's life. Because I know what he would have wanted from me, and I know how he was with me. I was the baby boy, so he always wanted me to be great. And so it's a way to like really. The last thing I said over his casket was like, "Man, this won't be for nothing." And so I had to figure out like what did I want to do, and this is one of the things is talking about his story and mine, and just kind of helping these youth that the best way we can.
Yeah. So I just full disclosure, I was knew Terrence really, really well.
Right.
And the silence of the depression is what was really scary.
Right.
I would see him, 2-3 times a week. And just the silence of it was like, I just couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it.
No, I say, and I tell people all the time, you got to learn to ask the right questions.
Sure.
Right. I think it's not enough to, man, like if I say, hey, Monty, how you doing? You're like, man, I could be better. I'm going to ask you what could be better. I'm gonna try to dig a little bit. Not to be disrespectful. I'm gonna push past the boundaries you allow me to, but like I really want you to understand that like I'm tapped in to listen to whatever you got to dish out and hopefully help you process it in a way that we can move forward in a better way. And if nothing else, maybe you feel better today and go a little further. And so I think a lot of times we kind of like accept somebody's like, man, it's messed up right now, and then we just kind of leave it at that.
Right.
And I really
there's a lot of introspection in yourself of it's messed up for you, it's messed up for me, and just keep it moving.
Keep it pushing.
My stuff's messed up too.
Right.
Wow. So talking about the mental health and the PTSD. So when did you identify with that? Like, because I know you mentioned it earlier. So
man, it was
coaching. Did you like that's because you also talked about a period of depression. So when, like,
it's like you. So the depression part was once I started kind of getting insight on that, I realized like I had been dealing with this since I was a young kid. It was something like you start, once you start doing the work and you start being able to look back, it's like, man, this is something that's been there. So I think that was more easier to recognize for me. But like the anger and stuff wasn't easy to recognize. The reaction to certain things wasn't easy to recognize. Not being able to move in loud environments at times with different things. I didn't get what was happening because I'm around other vets who are okay with my behavior. They're just like, man, he'll be all right. It wasn't until I got removed from that. And then when I started dating my wife, that's when it started to like really like something's up here. But even then, like I said, it took me a while. We had been married when I started going to counseling. So it was when I went to counseling, this guy named Phil, who's an Army vet. He was like, man, you ever been tested for PTSD? And I'm like, nah, I don't think I got that. He's like, man, listen, everything you told me, everything you
bells
can
are
do,
ringing. The bells are ringing.
Like, hey, man, like all the signs point to that. So I did the examinations and stuff, and he was like, yeah, man, you got PTSD, and so that opened a door for me finding out I had sleep apnea. And so it's like when you have sleep apnea, that agitates you, which agitates the PTSD, which makes you a lot less pleasant to be around. Just a lot of layers to the stuff that I started being able to peel back in my own life. And so it just kind of helped me get to a point where like I am in a good space now. And I can actually say when I'm not and be okay with like, nah, man, I'll tell you I'm working it out. Right. But I'll tell you, like, nah, it ain't good right now. So it's like I've kind of got to that point now where it's like, man, it just is what it is. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do the work, but I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna keep fighting. Hopefully, it hurts.
How are you weaving this into the coaching?
Man, we all deal with kids in some level. Whether it's you guys with the with stripes on the sideline, it's like I'm sure you hear kids having meltdowns, and it's like it's probably deeper than like this this flag out through ain't deep enough to make you react that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or me taking you out the game ain't enough for you to react that way. So just like I said, when you start figuring out your stuff, you can start seeing these things in other kids. And so you start trying to have those conversations. And, typically at this point, that's what I'm leaning on for, not just assistant coaches. It's like, man, when the kid's struggling, you go see Coach Davis, right? Or even now, I'm not working at the school full time, but they have me come on once a week to do guidance counseling just to mentor and help kids who are struggling until we can get them the services they actually need. And so it's like you have to, like I said, we're beyond the point of not acknowledging it. You can't.
Good.
It doesn't mean everybody has it. And I think that's a point that I have to make to a lot of people is that you can be depressed but not suffer from depression. You can be anxious but not have anxiety, right? And so you can have moments of these things. We all do at times, but it's like understand what it is and also understand like it's not your crutch to not do.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think a lot of kids, when I'm coaching, I tell them, and we were having a conversation already, right? We were all go because if you stop, they was going to clown you, weak, you soft. You had to keep pushing. Where these kids, they're all stop. Right. And
so you can't even tell them their shoes untied. Like,
but it's like the moment you tell them something, they completely break down. And so, what I learned was I have to acknowledge what they're going through. And so if I acknowledge what's happening right now and how they feel, and I give it the validity that they're looking for, I can get them back to work. So it's like, okay, I understand this is happening, and we could take a minute. We could take a minute or two to kind of just get it back in order, but we got to get back to it. So it's like these speed bumps are going to keep coming, man. This ain't the last one. So, I can't maneuver. I can't get rid of the speed bump. I got to show you how to get over it.
So you ain't called that Bobby Knight philosophy, huh?
Man, that's choke somebody. Hold on. That's a big benefit of being at a so where Lompoc is a public school,
right?
Where we're at St. Joseph is a private Catholic school. So that having him there, that's kind of the benefit of being a private school that they have those kind of extra funds and that extra time that they can put in, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of opposite in a sense because the public schools are state funded.
Correct.
So their money's more. So they have more. They have the resources. So when you go on Lompoc, they have a whole wellness center now. Right. They have counselors that are just there to deal with, especially since COVID happened. Mm-hmm. Right. They have counselors just on staff now to help, where St. Joseph, it's all privately funded.
Gotcha.
So they have to generate. So I was teaching, but then I was in a position where I was able to step back, walk away from things. Right. My money was in a good space. So I was like, all right, I can fall back. But
clap on that,
I didn't. I didn't want to.
You act like you ain't got no board over there.
Right. Well, so I just volunteer my time because when I was an administrator there, I was also the dean of students, but in between that, I was still doing counseling and stuff.
Sure.
So when I stepped down as the dean, I'm like, man, I can't let these kids go without the counseling part.
Yeah,
and
you probably as being in school, just seeing someone that looked like you in that type of role, just offering that input, it means a lot. You know what I'm saying? That positive male influence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As a student, athlete, as just a kid on campus, just seeing you. You know what I'm saying? Like as the motivation. So that's something that's not talked about, the African American teacher influence on some of these everybody lives. You know,
well, and it's like Tamani's point, the Catholic school vibe is different. You know, you got 525 kids. Lompoc, you got like 1,800, 2,000.
Oh yeah.
So you're in a more controlled environment. So you're not, the layers that you have to deal with aren't the same. You know, it's like when you at Lompoc or most public schools, you could be sitting next to the drug dealer, the you know, the gangster, you know, the great kid with a 4.0, just the kid who just screws it up. Like you have a little bit of everything, where over there you have to get accepted into the school.
Everybody
whoever you
moving in the same boat, rowing the same row.
Right. And so it's, since COVID, it's become way more popular because of that. It's like, man, it's a focus thing. My kid's going to be seen. There's only like 25 students in a class. He's going to get the help he needs or she needs. So at the public school, you know, we all know you can get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, you got to get your lunch money took.
That's man.
Okay, so let's really get to the real thing about this private school, though. Okay. So tell me the makeup of this basketball team that you guys just went to the championship game, I believe, lost.
Yes, lost in CIF, lost in state semis.
So tell me about the makeup of this team and where these kids come from.
So you have kids from Benin, Africa. We have kids from Lithuania. We have kids from Sweden, as well as we have local people.
I thought you were rescuing the community, bro. You in.
Hold on, bro. Hey, Shante, he got connected to NBA Africa.
I wish I did. It's and like I said, the guy who runs the program, he's been doing outreach since he was a kid in Africa. And so he has, you know, he had ties to Africa from going there for that. But, you know, people always try to act like he's not recruiting. I'll just say that because people always want to say he's recruiting kids. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You know, it's literally people calling him and saying, do you have space is this even a possibility for this kid?
Right.
You know? And so it's like, but people always try to make it look like something it's not. It's unfortunate, but you know, when you're on the wrong side of it, we're beyond the point of just saying, hey, they're just a better team than us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has
I would say too, when people start to immigrate and just immigration period, when you travel, like I'm sure in North Dakota, because I'm trying to remember what city it was, but once one person from a certain sector of the world immigrates to that spot, it becomes a whole little community because they found that in or whatever it may be. So if they go, like you said, you're gonna get the calls, right? It's everybody gonna go into their little pockets if it's from another country.
Well, hold on,
from another state.
Let's not get off this yet, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about this one special player you got, though. Come on now.
Absolutely. Hold up, man. It took him time to build up, Monty. We got.
I hear you, but he's beating around the bush.
To be honest, I mean, he's specifically speaking about Tunde Yesufu, who is, like I said, that dude is just phenomenal. I would say when he came over here, and I'll give a story. He wouldn't be mad at me about saying this, but he got here. He had, you know, malaria is a big thing over there, and so he got sick, right? And so, you know, he's out the hospital, maybe about 3 days. He flies to Nebraska, I think, for a tournament with a program he's playing with, and he scores like 40 in his first game.
Ooh.
And so, you know, me and my boy G Wood, we like, hey man, we might got one. You know, not really sure, but so he comes back and plays for us. And at the time, San Joaquin Memorial was one of the big teams in our section, and we played them in a fall game, and he had like 38. And so G Wood was the first one to go. He go, hey man, I think this kid might can go to the league. And like Tom, who's always like very passive about like, man, I don't know about all that. And I'm like, nah, I think he might. And then he just never showed us he couldn't since he got here. I mean, he was a state freshman of the year, state sophomore year. I think he wasn't junior. Now he's a McDonald's All-American. You know, he's
won the dunk contest, didn't he?
Yeah, won the dunk contest on All-American game. But like to interact with him, like old school guys love him because he's a no nonsense. He's a worker. It don't matter what's going on. When he get on that court, it's not a game for him. Or if you're on the court and he wants to get on the court and you BSing, he gonna jump like, hey, get out the way. I'm here to work. And so he's very much that way, but like he just knows one way, man. It was a super honor. It was a pleasure.
Awesome.
You know, he cultured me, you know, taught me a lot about home. And, you know, people don't understand that dude came over here with a backpack. That's it. That's all he had. He didn't have much, you know, and these kids, they're not coming from environments that are super stable.
Yeah.
You know, they're going through the same stuff just in another country. So, you know, for
Which
him to
is
do what
probably
he did,
giving them that drive, right? That drive and that focus. Like, look at this opportunity that I'm on the other side of the world that can change my life, my whole entire family's life. If I just go and lock in.
Else.
Yeah, and I mean, these kids are, 3.5 and above students. Like, these dudes do phenomenal in the classroom. They do great, and like I said, it's all the while learning. Like, this is their third language, most of them.
Right.
You know, and so they maneuver. Yeah, they maneuver all that, man. And to be honest, it's not. You know, Americans just have a way of treating you when you're not from here and when they don't understand.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You know, so it's just that layer for them of like, you know, and I tell them, like, you got a kid, two kids who's like 6'9". You got Tunde who's 6'6", and you walk around these kids, you already look intimidating to half of them. They're already afraid to even speak to you, and you ain't even did nothing to them.
Wow.
You know, so it's like trying to get them to like understand. And I told them, like, so when I was at the school, I was the first Black administrator at the school. And my dad always told me, when you're the first Black person to do anything, it's a walk you got to walk that's different than anybody else.
Jackie Robinson.
You know, and to a certain degree, yes, you know, but it was just like, I always tell them, I didn't deal with anything that was crazy. I just dealt with people who weren't comfortable dealing with a Black man in the position.
Yeah,
sure.
And so it's like, you know, trying to get them to understand, listen, I work just like you work. I communicate just like you communicate. You don't need an angle. You don't need nothing special. You just need to speak to me like you speak to everybody else. And we'll be
everybody else.
And so, you know, it's the same thing for those kids. I'm like, dog, you have to really learn to be comfortable in your own skin and being yourself. People are going to love and hate you anyway, you know, but just be you. And like, you trust me, you know, it worked out for them because everybody loves those kids.
So working with someone at that level, what are you guys teaching them with the NILs, things of that nature, coming out as?
Well, they have another layer because they're international kids. So like for them, it's different. So I don't really know all that stuff. You know, he has people who represent him who will take care of all that for him.
That's gotcha.
You know, so we just kind of like, that's not our lane.
I got peoples for that.
But it's, you know, it's
cool.
like
it's the new world.
That's the new world, baby.
It is, and it's like it's funny when you see these recruiting meetings, like NIL has to come up. They can't not talk about it. Like they have to talk about what they're going to give these kids because these kids want to know, their parents want to know, and like I said, this is life-changing money.
Right.
So, now I don't want to get on the NIL too deep because that's just it's a whole new frontier that nobody knows what to do with it yet, right?
Right.
But has he committed anywhere yet?
Yeah, he's going to Baylor on a full ride. Yeah, so he committed a little while back. I think it was there.
Waco.
USC, and Arizona. Yeah, it's the right fit for him. I think he'll do great there. Coach Drew is really good, and he has a good plan for him, so I think he'll do fine.
Okay.
How is it as a coach now? Because as a high school coach, and you got these kids playing AAU ball at the same time. How is that jump?
Well, the thing is, it's the misconception is that they are concurrent, and they're typically
they're not.
No.
Okay.
So for example, right now we're preparing for the EYBL circuit.
Okay.
We'll go through May into May, and then high school live period is June to July.
Gotcha.
And then if you qualify for Peace Jam, you'll go back to EYBL in July for Peace Jam, and then that'll be the conclusion of that.
Okay.
So like they shut it down for a month to let high schools have. So you got the Section 7 in Arizona, which is like the real big high school tournament. We'll have Cali live here where all the good Cali teams go and a couple other things in that month. And then that's kind of it. And then they go back on tour and then that's it. So it just they do a good job of giving high school a space to still operate.
Now, if I remember correctly, CIF I'm old. I've been around it for a minute. When you were playing that high school sport, you weren't supposed to play that same sport at the same time in the club level outside the high school.
Right. Yeah, no, they still have rules. Yeah. So like if the one thing CIF is adamant about, you're going to play one or the other. So if high school season is going on, the moment you play for an AAU team during high school season, you are ineligible. You cannot.
Ineligible. Okay. That rule hasn't changed. Okay.
Yeah, so that's still consistent. Yeah, you can't do both of those things. You have to pick. And sometimes kids choose the other, so
the other way. Right.
High school sports is still, especially in California, we just have great high school basketball as it is. So, kids still want to play for the high school teams because it's important.
Sure.
Right. Now, will you find that is it with you? What I've seen from the outside looking in with the AAU in high school, a lot of that, you got the high school coach that almost is this whole AAU team as well. That's, his high school teams. I know some are, stronger in that, but do you see a lot of that now to where these kids are coming from all over the place playing for this high school, but really is that coach just taking them around year round?
Yeah, sometimes you have that. I think like when we first started at St. Joseph, before we were working with the program I work with now, we had like a little One Dream program, and that was just kind of what we used to play to keep, because we want to keep our guys playing. And so nobody was on teams yet, so we just want to keep them hooping and build some chemistry with them. And that was our first group we want to see have title with, was where we did that with. But like I said, when a kid like Tunde comes in, big time program say, hey, what's his availability? And we played a game at Harvard Westlake in his freshman year in state, and the guys from Team Why Not were there in attendance. And then literally after the game, they love to have him, and then he went there, and that kind of opened the door for all of it to go that way. It's like Reggie Morris is the guy who runs it. He dealt with Russ Book. They're all buddies, so they're all connected. And then that's how I got involved some years later. It was like, man, we got all these kids. We got like 4 or 5 kids from our program that play on those teams. And so, having me on the coach helps the program, but also helps get the kids to where they need to go. So it's just a balance of everything. But
St. Joe,
we have kids from everywhere.
St. Joe does a good job too of for the local kids. I know over the summer I usually take my kid over there and drop him off during the day and pick him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It ain't a daycare, Monty. You sound like that's not a daycare.
But to be fair, like Monty's son, he want to hoop, so he come in there trying to get to it. So he don't be playing around. He worked.
He's all right. He's all right.
He works. He works. He not gonna say that's his son. You try to keep him humble, you know what I mean, to make sure he's stay on that path. But he's a great kid. Number one, he's just a great kid. Like I said, so when he comes to the gym, he just does what he's asked to do, which he's been taught right. And so that's the biggest thing, and he wants to get better. So we always do the camps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And kids like that come in, and it's just a great opportunity to work with some other youth, and they actually get to see what we do. Yeah. I think a lot of kids, they have an idea. Some people just think we roll the basketballs out because we have talent, but it's like you can't beat the teams we beat by just rolling the basketball out, because they're really good as well.
Wow. Now let's talk about that more now. What you in now with Team Why Not, and that connection. What all are you just coaching? I mean, you said you guys got a tournament in Atlanta. You guys are traveling, so are you more than just coaching? Are you travel coordinator? I mean, that's a whole lot getting. Well, we have a whole lot of moving parts.
We have 5 guys on our team who play on different levels of the program. So we got 1 guy on the 15U team. We have 2 guys on the 16U team, and then 2 guys on the 17U. I coached 16U, but I coached 15s last year, but we won Peace Jam with that group, and they wanted us to stay with the group. We wanted to stay with them, so we moved up with our group. And so, so I just coordinate I make sure my parents who I'm traveling their kids, they know what's going on. So when I get information from the program, I let them know. So like we're getting ready to leave tomorrow, so I had to get all that information out. I got to coordinate with the program about like getting the hotels and all that stuff. So it's not a tall task. It kind of works pretty smoothly because they've just been doing it for so long. We'll be going to Mesa, Arizona here at I think around the 27th, somewhere in there. And then like after that, most weekends it'll be Memphis after that. Then I think Atlanta, and then and then we'll be getting ready at that point you're getting ready to go back to your one more circuit. We'll go back to your programs, and then we'll get ready for Peace Jam.
Wow.
So what's the legacy you want to leave behind in this sports thing, in this public speaking and mentorship? What's the legacy you want to leave, Eliot?
Honestly, man, it's I don't know. I always struggle with legacy because I feel like it's not a me thing. It's like an impression thing and what you leave with people. And so I always feel like if I leave people with I have a rule in my home, and it's like, be a good person. Like, period. Like that's a non-negotiable in my house. Like my 10-year-old, if I ask him what are you supposed to be every day, he'll say a good person.
There you go.
And so it's being a good person, but also, the theme of my speeches is always like, it's okay to not be okay. Don't suffer in silence. Like if I can get that to people and really understand and take to that and just get to the point where we're just not sitting there struggling, we're actually taking steps to get help. Like I feel like I've done my part.
Okay. What's the last words of wisdom you got to change Ashante around?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Like I said, some things are just better left as is.
Yeah.
Some people, like I said, we like the kids say, let them rock. You just gotta let them rock.
Gotta let them rock,
right? I feel like I've only known him for this last hour, but I feel like if I let Ashante be Ashante, we'd be all right.
Hey, exactly. See what I'm saying? That's a good coach.
That's a good coach.
Well,
after knowing him like 13, 14 years now, you are 100% correct. Just let it be.
That's it. Like I said, I have a rule. If it get too bad for me, I just know how to walk away.
Hey, that's what you got to do.
I just go the other direction. You can say whatever you say, and I'm gonna just go that way for a little while. I'll holler at you.
Right. He gonna come back after he let down over them cheeseburgers. He'll come back around.
So just to wrap things up, Eliot, man, just thank you. Inspiration to the kids, inspiration to the coaches. Keep the Central Coast. You keeping us rocking. I mean, had the most exciting basketball that I've seen around here in a long time. Big ups to you for the public speaking and motivating people, and rest in peace to your brother Terrence.
Absolutely,
man.
How can they contact you about public speaking?
Absolutely.
Oh man, just reach out. Eliot Davis Speaks. That's 1L1T for Eliot Davis Speaks at gmail.com. Also have EliotDavisSpeaks.com is the website too. You can reach out for me there, man, and I take all inquiries through there, man, and we just make it happen. So,
all right. So, what's on the horizon now that you lost a superstar? What you got somebody else coming in? You're gonna keep that on the route?
If you watched us, Julius Price is a highly recruited junior. He has a brother who's here, and Malcolm Price, who will be a junior. Julius will be a senior next year. So I think and I'll say it just because this is how I feel. I've told the LA guys this too. My gut tells me they could probably be the best backcourt in the state next year.
Whoa. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot because it's one thing about high school sports, I shouldn't say high school sports, football and basketball. California, football, you got California, Florida, Texas,
right.
Ohio. But when it comes to basketball, I don't know. There's some good schools here and there, but California from top and bottom,
I disagree.
I disagree.
And what's the trip? What's the trip is this great basketball in the middle of nowhere, as y'all say.
You're right.
That's right. And as I said, we finished ranked number 12th in the nation this year.
Wow.
Ooh. We had that's the first time the schools ever did that. So yeah, it was a very rewarding year to only have a couple losses, and your losses were the top teams in the nation. So if that's how I go, I'll go with that.
Bam. Wow. There you go. All right, y'all. And what do you say? 1L, 1T.
1L, 1T.
EliotDavisSpeaks.com.
EliotDavisSpeaks at gmail.com.
Gmail.com. Hit him up. Great stories, great inspiration. Unofficial Lounge, y'all.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Unofficial Lounge podcast. Don't miss your chance to join PCH Street's MVP Wine Club. Get 3 amazing bottles sent to you every quarter and discover wines that make us throw a flag and stop the game. Visit pchstreet.com/join to become an MVP Wine Club member today. Enjoy the best of the Central Coast of California.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to please like and subscribe, as the Unofficial Lounge is available on all your podcast streaming outlets, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. We look forward to you joining us next time in the Unofficial Lounge.